You got to get your tribe, and you got to keep finding them and find people smarter than you. And then if they're not smarter, you help them out. If you're a founder and you have a real brand, you have to kind of get out there. I'm learning because nobody will trust your brand unless they know who you are.
Welcome to Revenue Rearview, the show where founders, CEOs, and revenue leaders look back at the moments that changed everything. The breakthroughs, the blind spots, the turning points, and the lessons that can help you move forward faster. Let's dive in.
My guest today taught special education until he was 34. Then he launched a 7-figure psychology-focused audio company, an 8-figure supplement brand sold through doctors that hit $50 million a year, and the Baby Bathwater Institute, the founder community everyone tries to copy and nobody quite pulls off. Now he's broken into the consumer SaaS world with Zodiac.fm. Michael Lovitch. Welcome
Hi.
to Revenue Rearview. Let's dive in. I am so excited to you because I met you at Baby Bathwater and I had an idea of who you were. And then talking to you before this interview, you've kind of blown my mind, not what I expected at all. And which I love. That's why I do these shows. So you start out off as a special education teacher. And then somewhere along the way, you thought, time to start a company. What up there? Like what happened where you just totally changed?
I was a special ed teacher, 22 I lasted like 3 or 4 years because age when it just got hard. And also I always wanted to be a special ed teacher. And then I never thought about money or anything. And then I didn't realize how little money we made. And then also just the work and it was rewarding with the kids, but administratively, I didn't like that. I mean, it was a different job than I thought. Kid work was great. But yeah. And I couldn't afford to take people on dates, stuff like that. So this is no life. And I was like, this wasn't going to be for me. So yeah, so I didn't teach till I was 34. I taught for a couple of years and then I did what everybody does when they realize they made a choice they don't want to do. I went to grad school because like, what the hell, what else do you do? I didn't want to make a choice. And that's how we both went to UC Davis. So I went to grad school at UC Davis in communication sciences. And so I wallowed there, but they at least paid me. So I didn't lose money and then got involved in the startup community in Mountain View for a year or two, but it was a failed one and one of these charismatic guys. So I ended up just in shit tons of debt. Just got my ass beat in Silicon. The whole California experience was, I was a Kansas boy, just got killed. A lot of just didn't know what I was getting into and, escaped to Texas, to Austin and started selling. I was just entry level sales job. I think I was selling like Nextel phones to construction sites. It ended up like good at it. Like I could sell stuff. And rose pretty quickly and ended up doing pretty well in like tech sales. It wasn't my aspiration, but it paid my debt off. I started doing all right there, but it was like selling tech. I was selling like tech, security stuff to governments and was good at it. Got married. Then a year later, a kid was on the way. And then I was traveling to DC all the time, sell. And I was like, I don't want this life. I have a baby coming. I can't like leave. And so that's when and then I was like, what do I do? And then I was pretty early online just as a guy just surfing online and just, this is like in the early 2000s. So this is 2003, almost 2004. I decided I looked at my graduate whole degree was on hypnosis. So I was studying academic trance, right? Like hypnosis is the coolest stuff ever. And if you look at it academically, it's real. And so I was really into it. And I started seeing these people sell these hypnosis CDs online, but they weren't even like real psychologists. They just had certifications. They were claiming stuff that just wasn't possible with hypnosis, like hypnosis for alcoholism. Well, there's no research on that, or for better memory. It doesn't work that way. So I was like, this is crap. But then I was like, there wasn't even Google pay-per-click, but there's Overture, so you could see ad buying. And so I was like, wow, there's like 10 grand a day and these people suck. And it's offensive to anybody who's a psychologist who does hypnosis that they're selling like this. And none of them are even qualified. So I was like, I had an idea. I was like, wait a second, like all the people, because this is a master's degree. I had just did I talked to all the people who had published in double-blind studies in hypnosis. So I knew all the therapists who had published in journals. So like, what if I could publish their work that's already proven? So and it's just sitting there in the academia, like Carol Ganenda's Harvard surgery study published, like less bleeding, better recovery, and all those studies are done with tapes. So I knew there's audio. So my sister, thank God, my sister's a lawyer. I'm like, can you make me a record label or something? So she said, yeah, it's possible. So I knew all the people I kind of corresponded with in grad school, these kind of famous therapists. I was researching them basically. I was like, can I license this? So it's on deal. So I just took like trances from academia, re-recorded them, and sold them to publics or hospitals for the surgery one, or diet adherence to that's where we got big, or pain management from Maggie Phillips. These are famous people, and I licensed it, paid them a royalty, and went direct. And so more as a like, what else do I do? And we had the real stuff, and everybody else is selling nonsense, and we could prove it. And I got my, it's hard, man, because I didn't know
Wait,
anything.
I have to break this down a little bit because so many people want to become hypnotherapists, or they are a hypnotherapist. What you did was you took this concept that is kind of, it's a science, but a lot of people get into it,
Yeah,
but you found a way to really capitalize on it. And so that's what's super interesting to me for, this level of the people who listen to the show.
yeah,
A lot of people, you charge $250, $300 an hour for hypnosis, right? And you get good. There was one woman who I interviewed and she charges $1 million a year, but she's kind of an anomaly, right?
mm,
But the way that you thought about it and the way that you've kind of cracked the code of how can I really make money with this and lean into the facts and the science behind it, which is your genius, what you're experiencing.
yeah.
That's brilliant.
And I didn't want to be a hypnotherapist. I just published the best. Like nobody even knew I owned the company. I mean, I wasn't. I was the guy who published it and did the marketing and wrote the newsletter, but I wasn't the talent. I found the best in the world. They were the talent. Yeah, and I didn't want to. I'd be the worst hypnotherapist. I know like the research, but I'm not the. You know, I love the science of it. But I would be. I'm not a therapist. But yeah, and then there's this difference between a hypnotherapist and a real therapist because you can be. I mean, I have that on my website. One of my friends got his cat certified in hypnosis.
What? What?
Yeah, there's no regulation. So you want a real doctoral level psychologist or a licensed marriage family counselor or a licensed therapist. Hypnosis is a tool they use. You don't want somebody just certified in hypnosis. They don't have you don't want somebody messing with your head that doesn't have years and mentorship. That was the whole thing. It's like, give me a break. So I just took on those people. Like you can't be public, you can't be selling CDs. You just took a course and now you're a therapist. It's crazy.
So you saw a gap and you
Therapy
went
is a
out.
real thing.
Okay,
Well,
but then
I
somehow,
was offended. I was offended by it that people would do that because it's bullshit, like fake degrees, and yeah, you're dealing with real people, and you should be qualified. It's a
and
good
hypnosis really does, like I'm
it works,
huge into hypnotherapy.
but
I
in the
love
right
it.
hands.
Yes.
You
But
don't just
that's
want
like,
some person gets some certification.
let alone a cat, like you said. God,
Yeah,
okay.
we did it. We did it like
Now,
3 times too with different animals. It's fun.
oh,
And I won't name them, but these are the ones you see on everybody's website too. These certifications are still real. I'm like yeah.
crazy.
Anyway, I was like, that's how I got into it. It was a little anger, and I was like, I wanted the real stuff out there, and then we had the goods, and it was hard though, like the beginning a company, but I didn't know how to write copy, like, and then I had to learn all that digital stuff. It took me a couple of years before I like did okay. That was a struggle. I had a young kid, could barely feed her. That was a
So
tough couple of
you
years.
you ran that company by yourself, at least for a while. And
Yeah,
so
I
you
had a partner. I had a
marketing.
partner. I did it with some guy to do ops, so he was a partner, and he just did like ops and finances and stuff. But yeah,
Got it.
and yeah,
Okay.
no, and then it kind of hit. Lucky breaks, just kept at it. That makes sense.
But okay,
Good.
so what was a lucky break? How did you get discovered? How did you
Well,
grow the company to a 7-figure business?
by meeting people, by networking, because I'm in sales. I mean, what I realized, I'm pretty good at sales, and I don't mind cold calling. And when I got my first beating in Texas as a sales guy, I just learned that I'll take 9 no's for a yes. I just don't care. I'm just persistent. I'm annoyingly persistent. And so, yeah, I just started looking at who would be, because my last sales job, I had sold through the channel, right? And so, like, you don't need to be direct to the person. I was like, well, oh, that's affiliate marketing. So I would just go online all day and go like, oh, this site looks cool. I bet they would like, if that person got behind it, their audience would like this program we have, like our ego state strengthening or our diet adherence. And I would like follow them, get on their newsletters, and I'd write them. Like I'd read their stuff and say, hey, I really liked your article, blah, blah, blah. I have this program by Dr. So and so that I really think that you would like, and I think your audience would like. Do you mind if I send you on? Right. And I was a sales guy, so I had my little contact list as gold mine back then. And I put them on the thing. I'd send it out, put the date down, then I'd follow up and I'd say, hey, do you get a chance? No, great. Let me know when you listen. Then but then after a while, I'd say, yeah, I'd say, how'd you like it? And this is great stuff. And so they're like, yeah, I really liked it. And then I'd say, why? And they tell me, and I'm like, hey, do you mind sharing just what you said to your people? Because that's honest. And then, by the way, I'll give you the percentage of the sales, and they do it. And so it's kind of course, the smaller people at the beginning. So, but I started to get some sales, the smaller bloggers and people ran forums back then. And I just kept going. I didn't care how big, how small. I just kept at them until I contacted them. And so then I started getting, I started getting a little bigger. We got my sales pages down, hired some, yeah. And then I started going to marketing shows and meeting people and getting strategy and found some mentors to help me write copy and just to beat me up a little bit. So I learned best from others. I found some people better than me, hired them for like a week or two to train me on something to get better. And then I just kept networking, and I kept every day for 4 hours, I'd send out these emails to people just every day. Reach out, reach out, reach out. And then we started putting the testimonials of those people on our website. So then they go look at my website like, oh, I know that person. They've endorsed it. And then I had my first, and then the bigger break was, I'll just plug him out. The guy named Ryan Lee. I had this Olympic sports psychologist who published this athletic sports performance thing that was like tested. And so I published him, and it's the best for athletes. It's got to work with the best people in the world. And Ryan Lee, he had this giant site called Sports Specific for athletic trainers. Like, you have a one-legged kicker, here's the drill. It was like one of the first membership sites online. Like Ryan was famous. He was the first guy to make memberships work online ever, the biggest. And I knew that he would just crush it because he's charming. And I knew he'd like me because we're both Jew boys and he's funny. And he wouldn't, I kept calling them every way. I just sent them letters. And then finally his assistant emailed me and said, okay, Ryan will talk to you, but he has 10 minutes, but he admires your perseverance, but he's not interested. So I was like,
you already got the no before you even got on the call with him, but you just kind of knew he's going to love me anyway. And
I'm going to take it. I was stalking him. I knew I just had a baby. He just had a baby, blah, blah, blah. And we got on the phone. We started laughing about the kids. And then, before you know, it's a half hour, still laughing. And then he's like, so what do you got, Lovitch? And then he liked it. And then he said, hey, why don't we do a teleseminar? Well, I'll interview you. I was like, no, not me, the therapist. I don't know anything about sports psychology. Interview Jack. He's a badass. And he goes, okay, yeah, sure. And he goes, so make me a landing page, right? And he goes, and set up a teleseminar. I was like, I don't know how to set up a teleseminar. And he goes, do you have a landing page with like a special offer? I'm like just for you? I was like, I don't know. And he's like, fuck. He's like, Jesus Christ. He goes, how about this? Like, double your commission. I'll like make you a landing page. You just host it. I'll write it for you. I'll do the teleseminar. Give me a link. You know how to do that, right? I'm like, yeah, I know how to make a link. And so he goes, and y'all do it. So they did it. And then that day I woke up the next morning, there's more money that day than we'd done like the whole history of the company. And I was like, whoa, I paid him. And then I was like, you gotta be, so that was like, okay, I got something real. That was real money for the first time.
So how long, Michael, from when you started that company, you launched it, right? You put your website up to when this hit. What was
that was about 2 years. So when I was making enough to barely pay the bills, but I was like, oh, well, we have, we can go out to a real dinner, that was just the first time I was like, we could do that. Maybe vacation this summer. I was like, we could maybe do that. But yeah. And then Ryan introduced me to his world. Cause he's like, that was the best offer. He made more. He's like, that was the best thing I ever did. He goes, you got the goods. And he goes, how about like I introduce you around? And then, I'll introduce you to all the other people. And he did. And then he's like, you should be going to this event. So he kind of gave me my first break. And then turned out Ryan Lee's given like some of my best friends. We have the Ryan Lee fan club unofficial because friend Kevin Gianni, Emery Skincare, same thing. Mike Geary is a big deal. He gave him so Ryan Lee is the origin of a lot of people. And he wouldn't take consulting fees. He wouldn't charge me. He just got on the phone with me. And he was even younger than me, just more successful. But yeah, got lucky with a person. And then that kind of opened it up and gave me courage. And I started hitting bigger. And I ended up with like Mark Hyman as an affiliate, Daniel Amen as an affiliate, big famous people because we had the goods. And I hired Dave Luciani as a coach to help me so he helped me with messaging and go to the next level. And that really helped, gave me some much needed discipline. Yeah. So this is more, I network my way into it and I learn best and just finding smart people who can help me and then helping everybody I can along the way helps, I asked Ryan what I could pay him besides affiliate commission. He goes, pay it forward, dude. So I'm like, cool. So I took that to heart. So when people contact me I'm nobody, but when I was big in the industry, I would never not take those calls if they were kind. And I would try to help if they had a high integrity and high integrity product. I would help them Yeah, that's people will help you out if you're persistent and but you got to have the goods, meaning the product was great and it's proven it wasn't BS. So you have to have the goods when you do that. But yeah, just it's really it. And just learn from good people and keep doing it.
It's the
That's really
percent.
it.
It's so my
Yeah.
company, Fire Coach, we're all about sales. And that's because I've owned businesses for 30 years. And the last 6 years, I've been working with entrepreneurs. And what I consistently see, they can be brilliant. They can have the best product out there. But if they can't do sales, they're going to have a difficult time. But there's so much I love about what you just talked about. But what you kept saying is you're just persistent. You didn't care if they didn't, you just kept on going and you did 4 hours a day. And that's what it takes. You got to hustle. And then you said 2 years. It took 2 years of being consistent doing this. And then you finally had your break and that opened the door. It's kind of that. I was at your Baby Bathwater event and I remember going to, what's his name? He Convert Kick.
Nathan Barry.
Nathan Barry. I was listening to him. He's like, you know how you get a hockey stick, the hockey stick growth? You suck for a long time and then all of a sudden it starts going up. Not that you sucked, but it's that consistency. It's staying dedicated.
Yeah, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing when you're starting. And I still don't because the world changes. So, and you got to rely on other people. I mean, it's kind of your network. And then are you also a good player? Do you help other people? Like whenever I learn something, I share it with everybody, right? Like we're all kind of, you got to get your tribe, and you got to keep finding them and find people smarter than you. And then if they're not smarter, you help them out. And it's just doing it alone. There are people who are smart who can do it alone. I mean, I know people who are those people, but I'm not. I mean, like I'm not. I don't have the brain for that, man. So yeah, there are big brain people who can just do it all and they can see it all in their head like a chess player. Sure, go nuts. But if you're like a regular person like me, you got to have people to help you out.
Okay, so that's your framework. This is really cool because I'm hearing a framework from you, right? You have a great idea. You have it's the real deal. It's a great product. We're going to talk about Real Dose in a second, but then you have a plan to start getting clients. You said even small, you didn't care. You just kept on going. Didn't matter if they're small, big, medium, didn't matter. And then you just kept on doing the same thing consistently till it unlocked a door. And then you start paying forward. And it's not rocket science, but it's your frame. It's always so helpful to have a framework, right? That you're following and you just got to trust that framework. And that's what you just shared with us. So moving into Real Dose, which grew to $50 million a year, did you follow the same path? Talk to us about this. What
was different. Here? I had the network and then we had already been an affiliate for great supplement companies. So I had a giant. I mean, we had this diet adherence program by Dr. Roberta Tema that worked. And that's what Hyman promoted. I mean, all the best-selling doctors were promoting that. Or anybody had a diet because our hypnosis made their diet work. 92% success rate, proven. So I had this giant list. And so, of course, supplement companies came and wanted me to promote as an affiliate. And was really strict, but I found a couple and I would crush it. I read better copy than them because I'm a supplement user. But I was like, man, I wish it. And then my mind was like, it's got to be better than what these guys have. So I just kind of kept thinking about that. And also, but 9 out of 10 supplement companies that come to me, I wouldn't promote them because like my mom's a physiologist at KU. Like I would send it to my mom. I can't read a medical journal, but I sent it to my mom who can. I said, these people want me to promote this. What do you think? She'd be like, well, not if you want to come to dinner back when you're in Kansas because this is bullshit. So I was like, could you guys help? Like the University of Kansas lab? And she's like, she was retiring. She's like, sure. I mean, this is easy. I mean, what do you want? So then I went to all the doctors that were already my affiliates. And I was like, if I made a supplement company, what would you want? What's missing and what kind of standards? So Real Dose was built on, we figured out the problem in the industry, which is still the problem in the industry. So that's such Real Dose, right ingredient, Real Dose. So you might see this thing, this bottle of something, and it has a dose that's not used in the research, but they're making the claim anyway. But the worst part is, let's say rhodiola. A rhodiola, like grown in, bad soil, like in Iowa or whatever, isn't going to be the same rhodiola that's in the nurtured organic soil. It's going to have a different constitution of actives. And then how it's extracted, so all the research is done on a certain extraction with certain actives. So if somebody just gets rhodiola, you see it on Amazon all the time. Somebody just gets rhodiola at 200 milligrams. It doesn't mean there's 200 milligrams of the actives used in the research. So we were like, oh, we got it. So I went to all these guys. What if I had a company where we had the promise, the right ingredient, the Real Dose? and we only had exactly the claim was we're telling the truth, nothing different. If we're making a claim on real deal, it's going to be at the dose using the research at the same exact extraction level. We could prove it. And so we just really boring. And then we could run ads because we were compliant. We were compliant with the FTC because we were the standard. And then that was so easy because got it formulated, had the angle, did it right. And then we already had the affiliates ready to go because I knew everybody. And then buying media was easy. So that was just a rocket ship. So it was just, right place, right time. I had the network. I was able to ask a lot of questions from the docs, what they wanted. I had my mom on my back pocket, which is always good to have, to kind of figure shit out for me. Yeah, after that, this is like so easy, and that was that time was maybe bad for me because then I thought everything would be easy after that. And then,
Okay.
everything I touched after that kind of hit real fast. Little things like little projects, or if I take little gigs and they just work because I knew everybody and I think only the right deals came to me. And so in that space, once you've done it, then it was easy. And I was like, oh, I'm really good at this, I guess. So, and that grew too fast, so it imploded on itself. So yeah,
What do you
I built
mean
a
it
50
put
million.
it on it? Like what
Oh my,
happened?
we grew too fast, and I'd never built my first company. Got to like 7 million ish, real slow for 8 years, and so it was like a Buick. It just ran, and then Realdos was like, I didn't know how to hire. And then I started with two partners, and and then our first ad hit. Like it never happens. Our first ad and video worked. We did the first BSL for like a pill, and it just worked out the gate, and then everything worked so easy. And then we just hired this bloated team, and we're like, yeah, we're just blah blah. And then when the first struggle hit, because people started copying us, of course, because it's not like we had a moat around us, because all other people had to do was do the same shit. It's not like we discovered something new. We just had higher standards. That's not hard to copy. And our videos were working. People could spy on ads. And so then the competition came, and with better teams, people knew how to run companies. So I didn't, and then we,
So
infighting with.
you grew too fast to the point where, and you made it too good. And so you had copycats, but then was it that you broke because you just didn't have the infrastructure
We didn't have the
to,
infrastructure. We didn't know how to get out of it. It's three guys, and we all get along, but none of us knew what we were doing. And of course, we couldn't figure out what to do because there's a three-headed monster, and we all had different opinions on what to do. None of us knew what the fuck we were doing, and so we just kind of imploded. And then they bought me out before it failed. So I was the one going, this. If we don't fix shit, which I don't know how to fix, we're dead. And they're like, no, it's working. I'm like, ugh. I got out at least with some money because they bought me out on the way down, which it's never like a great exit. But they're still doing a couple million, so I got some money out of it. But I escaped with money. but
wow.
but yeah, but enough and more money than I'd like, like more money than I ever thought I'd have. So but not all, not crazy amounts. And then it just went down because the competition came, and then the biohackers came, and I could see the writing on the wall, and things were changing. We weren't prepared for the change. We didn't have a team. There's three
Okay. So
leaders.
let me ask you this, Michael. So now that you've had so many years in business and it's been a while since Real Dose, is there any one thing that you feel if you could go back and you had the knowledge that you have today that would have saved it?
Yeah, none of us should have been CEO. We should have hired a CEO that had done something bigger before. So we were cocky because it worked. But in retrospect, there's plenty of people from bigger companies who've been there, done that we had the money and budget because we were a rocket ship that we could have hired like top. We were like, we don't need to pay that person 500 grand. There's so many people available. We should have created a board of advisors, but we were like still thinking, but we were small time guys who hit it big. We didn't know about all this. Yeah, I would have created a board of advisors and hired pros and just got out of the fucking way and been the chairman or something. It was just above us, and we had the money to hire the best, and we had the best brand, but we just didn't bring in the people who knew what they were doing, and they're all around us. And we just decided we knew better when we were going up. And at that time when we were going up, we could have just built this rock solid everything and probably never worked a day again in our lives. But we didn't.
So it sounds like, so then you went into Baby Bathwater. I don't know if that was the sequence.
Yeah, and I did other things. I was on like Dave Asprey's board for a while, and I did some help launch my basis and some other kind of cool little projects, which did really well. Anything in that industry. And then, yeah, I wanted to chill because that was stressful.
Yeah.
Getting your out of this, like, whoa, run away. But got out of it. And then Hollis and I were hanging, and we, then along the way, we started going to all the masterminds, I'm not going to name them, but they're everywhere. And they just weren't for us. like they were kind of like competitive and just something about them. And then is that like Marriott's or some convention centers? And where's the live music? What happens after two? And, why? And then why aren't people friendly? Why is this a competition to see who's cooler? Like I don't even like cool people. So this weren't our thing. And so Hollis and I, we go to these things and kind of ruin them because we like 2 o'clock, like we're going to find some shit to do. And then it'd be at night. We'd be up till 6 in the morning and everybody would be late for the next day. And the people running are like, what do you do? Like, stop that. And so
Okay, so
we
I'm
just decided,
hearing, and I can, since I went to Baby Bathwater and I know a thing or two about it, I can see where it was born from. It was born from you hated these events, you liked the concept, but you hated the events and you wanted something totally. I mean, Baby Bathwater was so different from all those because I go to those conferences too,
yeah,
and every time I'm like, oh my god,
like, kill
you know,
me. Yeah, we want real
I wanted
folks. So the whole,
people.
yeah, we, so basically just, we have to some rules, like no selling, no pitching. So you don't go there for biz dev. You're there for biz dev. You're there for the wrong reasons. Go there to learn. Go learn from the best people. Actually, give people time to breathe. They don't have to go to content. Have great content. If they want to go, they can go. They can sleep in. Like you're free human. You didn't become an entrepreneur to be told what to do. Don't tell them what to do. I also hated the guru ones where the person running it's on stage the whole time. They didn't come for you. So you saw Hall's Eye. We never talked. We never did content. We did like a little dinner toast for like, I think we were 2 minutes max on the mic every night. And we're like, you didn't come for us. We just enjoyed the event. And so no gurus and none of us, no MC forcing you to listen or you have to be here at 8 in the morning for this. Don't have to be anywhere. Show up for lunch if you want, show up for dinner, just do it and just have a bunch of shit for people to do so they can actually meet each other. They're there for each other, not for you. And then give them good music, like with real bands. And then like, if they want to stay up to 6 in the morning, they should be able to go to drink at 5. And then, no selling. And then we had kind of rules about, and you have to interview first. Be kind. Like you're not here to be better than anybody, and leave your costume at home. And this is, it's tough work. No coming in cool. Cool people are not allowed, or don't come in acting like you're doing well because nobody is.
That's
I
what I
mean,
noticed when I talked to people there. They were what kind of realized who they were is like, holy crap. But you never knew because they were
no.
so just kind of grounded and genuine, and there's always someone above them. So
Yes.
you
It's
set a
against, it's,
really
ag-
tone and
uh,
just people could
it's,
talk and it was
it's
cool.
against the rules to be
Yeah.
cool. And we kicked people out and we made examples the first couple of years. If you're If you were a big person, didn't talk to the little person, you weren't coming back. We used to only invite half the people back the first couple of years. But
Whoa.
we'd invite the plumber back, but not the big deal entrepreneur back because we were never evaluated on success. Because who cares? We're all on the same ride. So none of that. So yeah, it's still like that. Like I'm going
But
next
you
week.
had, I know, well, 'cause I met you. What's so cool, Michael, is the last day I was leaving and you took a bus from where we were staying in Cabo to the airport.
Yeah.
And I sat next to this guy and I started talking to him. I'm like, oh, he's freaking cool. He knows about soccer. He's living in Barcelona and
Mac.
uh-huh. And so I started talking to him and he was on your board. He was one of your advisors at
Mm-hmm.
Baby Bathwater. He became one of my advisors for my
No
last
way.
company
He's great. He's
too.
fantastic. Yeah.
He's awesome, but super just chill and cool. And again, one of those people that you wouldn't know his
No.
background unless you really dove into it. So Baby Bathwater did have a board of advisors, or did you just have a couple of people that you were using for?
Yeah, we didn't call it. It wasn't official. I don't know. I sold it to Hollis 2 years ago. I don't know what he has now. No, we had an official, but everybody was our board of advisors. And we had like a core group that had been with us forever, and we take their feedback, and like the lifers were our board of advisors. Yeah, we
Got it.
reached out. I mean, Hollis and I are very social, and both of us are we fly by the seat of our pants. So we need advice. That's how
Yeah.
we need to take advice. We're listen to folks and try to do things right because we need help. So yeah, and the members liked it enough to help us, but it wasn't like an official thing. I don't know what he has now, but it was very informal that way. But we definitely always sought out certain. I mean, the people that are with you forever, and especially like Mac Lackett, he's like the board of lending tree. It's not like you're
Yeah.
not going to
He's just
listen.
brilliant.
You're not
And
going
he
to not
has
listen to that
energy.
guy.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
just cool. He's cool. And so I brought up him because he kind of emulates the people that were there, right?
Mhm.
These cool people who are approachable,
Kind,
kind.
generous.
Yes. Okay. But
It's still, yeah,
then you with your science background mind decided,
yeah.
hey, let's go woo. and launch Zodiac.fm, which brings you to where you are now. It's a SaaS company. It's a woo company. You
Yep.
asked me at the very beginning, Midori, are you into woo? And I'll tell you, 5 years ago, I'd be like, hell no.
5 years ago has
Weird.
happened.
Because people are hippie-ish. I don't get them. Totally don't resonate. And then I saw too much with some of my clients where I saw them do just crazy ass shit where one person would be having these like tremors and they did this exercise and they went away forever. And like the tremors, they couldn't, it was after neck surgery. There's too many cool things and this energy and I think there's a science behind it too. So it's not just woo, there's a science behind it.
Oh,
So talk to me. You got to share this because I think this is the coolest story. Zodiac.fm, though even in the name is kind of like, what up? So tell us the story here. And,
you can
what
get
it's
long.
about.
I'll tell it shortly. Like, about 5 years ago too, I had a friend who's very successful, runs a lot of sleep clinics. We were going to a concert on a bus to Red Rocks, and he's telling me that he only hires, he's like 80 employees. I mean, the guy's a sleep scientist. He's like, only hires them based on their human design chart. And I'm like, in my friend, I was like, that's the stupidest shit I ever heard. I was like, and I'm like, I have a hypnosis background. Like, it's all just Barnum effect. I could do that. I could be an astrologist. Like, give me a break. Like, I could just use the language. I could cold read you and I could convince you that my readings are true, dude. So we're just fucking with each other, having a good time. And he asked me if I'd ever even had a reading. And I told him no. Why would I? And he goes, how about this? I'm going to get you a reading from somebody. It's really expensive, but I'm going to pay for it. You're going to get it, but you're going to shut up until then. I'm like, and this is a nice one. And I was like, in. So, so I got said reading. And it's fucking crazy. So, because I had a lot of therapy, I was publishing therapists for 8 years. And so I figured I should be in therapy. So I've seen some of the best therapists forever for 8 straight years. I get a different one every year. I've been in deep therapy. It's like this astrologer person, without even talking to me, had notes from every therapist I've ever had. It, it drove me nuts. And so then I kept talking to my hypnosis friends, like, what does he do? Like,
How did
I
he
was like,
know that?
man, too fucking weird. Sorry, excuse my language. And then I was like, well, maybe she's a witch. I can't believe in astrology. Like, maybe she's this clairvoyant. And then I went and got a famous Vedic reading. They read it differently, but same shit. It's spooky. So just kind of gnawed at me, like it wasn't like I wanted to get more readings. This is like, great. They just confirmed all the shit that my therapist told me about myself. Like, they just confirmed my therapy and confirmed what my wife says. And so I was like, this is crazy. And it just bugged me because I was so against it, so against it. And so it just drove me crazy. Like, how could this be true? Because it doesn't, you read the research. There's no studies on this shit. It's terrible research. So I'm just like, how? And so I started getting Zoom calls with famous astrologers in India. And then I wanted to learn, but it all comes from India and Vedic astrology. And I was like, what's their life like? I mean, if it works, there has to be a reason. And it comes from Vedic. So maybe I'll study Vedic. And so I started kind of researching all the Vedic and what their life philosophy was. And then it's like, in the beginning, there was and it's a non-dual universe, and it's just sound. And we're all connected. It's all one thing. You sound, the void, and we're all connected that way. And somehow the stars are frequencies. And that's what they're reading. They're reading something called the subtle body. They're not reading your soul. And that's how they can predict so much about you. Like, cool. And then I started going to these famous people and say, I don't want a reading, but how much for 8 hours? And I want to record it. But this is just a hobby. I was just like, well, I had a lot of time because Baby Bathwater wasn't a lot of work. I just had too much time. And I just kept recording these people. And then AI kind of comes online. And I started taking the recordings, throwing it to AI, and just asking questions. And along the way, there's something called mantra. Like, if you do transcendental meditation, that's mantra, it's chanting. And like the person, and then I was like, I always believed in meditation. That's science, but and chanting works. But they like, you need to pay for the word. And I just thought that was silly. Turns out you should pay for the word. And actually, there's a technique behind the word. And that's why you do pay the money. So I thought that was bullshit, but it's not. So then Vedic and a lot of lineages, the reading is the diagnosis, the mantra is prescription. So they work hand in hand. The birth chart, they're together. It's some lineage. It's like the mantra shasta and everything. So I was like, introduce me to those people. And I got my mantras from a tribe, a lineage that does it based on your birth chart. And they get your frequencies from the birth chart and they give you your vowel through other means. And I started getting my chants. I was like, I like to dabble. I've been into psychedelic research forever and I like to explore. It was like tripping. So I'm like, this is crazy. So then at that moment, I'm like, all right, I got to do business. Like, it was just a hobby. And then I'm like, somebody has to take this. This is too cool after years of this stuff. And so I negotiated. I was like, if I license the frequencies, but not the vowel sound, they think we'll never share. And so it's a transaction. And they're like, but they're private, so that you can never share. I have the algorithm, but I can't I can't, and then I don't even understand it. Like I throw it in AI, and I've tried to go deep with all these famous astrologers. I can't even figure out why it comes out with the frequencies it does, but it works. And then I had to study it. I did 1 year, and then I had to figure out how to put it into music. I had to figure out audio engineering. I had audio engineers to figure out how to take the 700 frequencies and put them in, and just figure it out. And then I had to do a test. I had to do a year test. I did 300 people, and they got these crazy results. So I'm like, I'm in business. That's where I am now. And then
Okay, wait. I need to back up for a second because
yeah.
some of the things that you're saying, some of the terms you're using, you're so used to being in it, but some people don't know what it means, right?
Okay.
So zodiac.fm, what it is just explain it to us in like 2 sentences.
Okay. So you know how if you do human design or astrology or any birth chart stuff, they get your chart and they get the planetary positions. They run it through software. I mean, they all used me back in the day. They had to, and they can tell you all this stuff about you. Basically, and they use sun sign, or moon, ascending, and all that stuff. And then they all read it differently. Like different when uses a Vedic will read it different than tropical. And then human design reads it different, but they're all reading the same thing, different interpretations.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how they can tell you. And it's all true-ish. So
talking about
zodiac.
like the Taurus. So like you're talking about that, like the things.
But the real reading, you have to know your sun, your moon, your ascending, and your aspects. Like no real reading. It's not your sun sign doesn't matter that much. So it's anyway. Well, the human design guy had a download, but it's pretty elegant. It's crazy how accurate that can be. It's insane. Or Gene Keys too. So, and they read the same thing differently, but it's all like pretty interesting. So we take the same information, the exact Swiss emirates, like the position of your birth in relation to where you were, your location and time, and we can translate into 4 frequencies that are 4 life domains. One is what we call core. That's identity, like who's Michael, who's not Michael, what's important to Michael. They tell you that kind of stuff. The other one we call it love, but that's your language, it's connection frequency. That's like, how do I connect? Who should I connect with? When should I? How? The other one's vitality. It doesn't give you energy. It's what would drain me, what wouldn't. What's going to be positive for my life force, what's going to drain me. And then the last one is abundance, and that's like timing and opportunity. So when you get readings, that's what they're telling you. People go get this, what kind of people should I be with? Who shouldn't I be with? Who's going to be my love? Or is this for me? Am I the type, like they type you, like, am I this, what's my purpose? And, what am I really here for? And then it leads to self-acceptance. That's why I like human design astrology, because once you know who you are, and it's not all perfect. You learn who you are, warts and all. And like Deborah Silverman, my favorite astrologer, it's like, yeah, the whole goal of this is just trust your little self, trust the weirdo you are, accept it. Now that you have this information, go live and just be the weirdo you are. You're not going to be anybody else, so stop it. And then that's why, she has like Sting as a client and Jennifer Aniston, because like you're always struggling, and imagine getting information, it just relaxes you. Like I can just be this person, and maybe I have a tendency to be an asshole. Well, stop that, but you're always going to have it. Like, stop fighting it. Like, there's things that aren't great about you, and just accept that, and then try to not be that, but then it's just who you are, right? And then the timing and the opportunities. That's why people get these readings. So if you listen to our songs, which are really bad, I have composers make songs, we insert the frequency in. It took me a year to figure that out. A lot of money. I wasted. I can't tell you how much money I've wasted doing things wrong. But anyway, once we got that right, you get it unconsciously now. So you can still get your reading and they can tell you specifics, but now imagine over time that part of yourself amplifies and clarifies. So now you have more access to how you connect. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to trust yourself on that? Maybe you have a little more access to what's important to you, what matters. Wouldn't it be nice to have a little more access to, like, should I take that opportunity? Shouldn't I? When? Wouldn't it be nice to know a little more, like, why am I doing this thing? Is this draining me? I didn't even know it. So it tunes you in, man. So we just tune you in through music slowly. And so it's kind of like a little access. If you've done psychedelics, it's an opener, because I think that's the reason why people do psychedelics, is for access to self. So we give you access to self through sound, and it's fun because we have good music.
Psychedelics, right?
No, you don't have to do anything, but they're really good on them. And then the whole thing is, it's not about when you're listening. So listening can feel good or not. Some people go. It's funny, the energetic people. So we have, like, if I give it to a Kundalini person or somebody energetically sensitive, like that day or two, like, whoa. And I'm like I'm sick. It took me forever to feel. It's cumulative. So it's really, the effect is over time, not like the song, right? I mean, the song is, because it's in your frequency, is nice, but the work isn't being done by listening. It's slowly amplifying and clarifying. So it's like, in our research, it's 9 minutes a day on average per week. And some people start to notice in a week, some people takes a month. but 92% of people like after a year is phenomenal. And like month 3 is like pretty crazy.
I have to know more about this. So, because I met Jennifer Hill also at your event, and
Yeah,
I read
she's my ambassador now.
great. So I read her review, and then you have a bazillion reviews on your website about this, but it's not tangible, right? So I was just kind of like reading what people said, and what it sounded like to me is they didn't feel it was for most people, they didn't feel all of a sudden this magic bullet.
It's not that.
But when they'd listen to it, they could tell a difference when they listened to it and when they didn't. And when they listened to it, they were more calm, and it sounds like things just become kind of easier. Maybe it helps you get on the right wavelength mentally and creates
It's tuning you to you. It's more of a self-access tool to me. Now, yeah, some people like we have a lot of testimonials about they call it nervous system relax. I think it just feels good to be you. So I don't think that's a direct effect of it. The tone, I don't think they're not healing. They don't give you energy, nothing like that. It's self-access. And then I think as you become more you broadcast, I hate to say it, when you can tell when somebody's kind of in tune or not. And you repel people when you're not being you, when you're not vibrating as you. And that's the thing that people talk about raising your frequency. No, stop. Don't raise your frequency. Be your frequency. You have 4 of them. So like raising is a weird goal. Like for what? Like maybe that's not you. And then where they are matters. There's a whole thing to it. So it's more about getting access to your authentic frequencies, not raising your vibration, so it's, I'm not saying raising is not a good goal, and then maybe there's Hawkins scale, and that's a different type of vibration. But yeah, it's more about just being you, and people tune in. And so some people do feel a nice relaxation, or they feel the energy, but that's not promised to everybody. I don't. I'm thick. I don't really feel much when I listen. I like the music. I like to cook to it, walk my dog to it, because you don't need to meditate. You can listen to your car. It's not binaural beats.
okay. Then because as entrepreneurs, being one for so many years, I feel like there's a lot of chaos that happens in here kind of all the time. Especially, I've launched some new companies. Now I have this, who thought at 56 years old, I was going to start a tech company, but I did. And
Me
so it's
too.
kind of like, holy shit. And so when I listen to you, I want kind of my brain to calm down sometimes. And
It's
I,
not that.
and I meditate all the time, listen to,
The goal is not a calm brain. That could be a result if let's say you're so out of alignment and you listen and it aligns you, that could make that feeling, but that's not what we're going for. Like the goal is self-access, and sure, it can feel great. And I kind of don't like those testimonials because in that first day, like, I don't feel it. Like I never felt it. I feel it over time. Like I journal, and like how much I've changed is crazy, but it's like subtle. Every week is like, oh, whoa. I'm just more tuned in. I listen more. I'm a better dad. I wish I would have had this earlier. I would have make better decisions maybe. But yeah, it's more the access. And some people it's calming. There could be a lot of qigong people like, oh, whoa. So that can be an effect. But it's not an effect that we highlight. It's a byproduct, I think, of alignment.
yeah.
I wouldn't listen to it for that. I wouldn't listen to it for that reason in mind. If your goal, the real magic is the self-access and the tuning into other people, and you start to tune into opportunities, and it gets really weird because, like, when I think of somebody I haven't talked to in 15 years, I'll just call them. They're going to be in Denver next week. It's just the weirdest shit happens. And that's a weird, and I hate it. It's, the whole thing. I still hate that this is true, but this is cool. Meaning, I still don't like. I wake up Sunday, I was like, this is crazy, and then now I'm like, anyway, there's a whole world out there, and I'm not ever going to be like, I understand this stuff. Like, I'm just along for the ride like everybody else, and I'm learning. And then now that I'm in it, I'm meeting other people, like you said, who do energy work, and there's other sound. And by there's other sound, there is sound healing. We're not, and there's great other stuff in the sound world, and there's other modalities in this what I used to say was stupid, batshit, dumb stuff. A lot of it's true, and I'm getting turned on, and I'm still like, Jesus Christ. And then I'm 56 as well. After 51 years believing one thing, it's not like one day you're like, no, I'm this. I'm still in a dissonance period. I'm still kind of in the not even comfortable with believing this stuff. Like, it's gonna take a while. I'm still like, I'm in it, but I'm like, when people say, well, what's it like through the other side? I'm like, I'm not through shit. I'm in the middle of whatever this is. I'm not through anything. I have no words of wisdom. I haven't gone to the other side. I'm still because I'm getting access to myself in this weird world, and it's a lot, because getting access to yourself can also be troubling. So it's like if you ever, some people write in, and let's say that your core, your identity, you're living such a far way away from it and you're repressing everything. And all of a sudden we're making your signal clearer and louder. People can have really uncomfortable weeks. And I'm referring them to like the therapist or their guides. We're not calling, so it can bring up some uncomfortable things because it's like if you've done like real psychedelics with guides, it could be, and we're not that at all. It's so gradual, but it
Yeah.
can be confronting. I mean, Zodiac can be confronting as well because so it's not always great feeling. Some people get really nervous. So it's not always, so when people give these testimonials, because they do, like people, they say, I felt home, I relaxed. Well, that's because those are the people who are already kind of aligned and this is more. But the people out of alignment, it settles in, but there can be an intense couple weeks. And I just say, listen less. Because it's definitely cumulative. So this is like 9 minutes minimum a day on average. But the more you listen, the faster it goes and the more intense it happens. So I just lighten up.
Sounds like working out, right? If you haven't worked out in 5 years, don't go run 5 miles. Start with a walk.
Or take 5 milligrams of THC instead of 30, right? Or
so it's the same thing with this. Okay, so Michael, now I need to talk about the business part of it because we first started.
You tell me about the business.
Oh my gosh!
Well, when I figure that out.
Well, that's the cool part. So you said you mentioned like I think maybe I have to start a brand. Maybe I have to like do a podcast. And you said this has not been an easy. Your other businesses sound like they kind of just took off.
After the first one, this is like the first one where it's like, am I going to be able to like make it? Yeah, this is still in that phase. Like this really going to make it? I'm still in like I don't know if it's going to make it phase because I haven't paid myself in years. I still can't. It's that phase because I'm taking all the money I'm making. It's profitable now finally, but it wasn't for years. And it's years of development.
How long is the years? How long? When did you launch?
I started spending money on it like 3 years ago. I launched in October, but now I'm just figuring out marketing. But just all the mistakes I made in tech, like I hired the wrong team. I brought in somebody as a technical co-founder. It didn't work out. Just fucked it all up. And then I bought him out. Just made bad decisions with partners. I'd never done software and I didn't ask for advice like I should have. So I didn't use my own rule. Because I was like, well, I'm good at this. So I made mistakes there. And then I don't know the market. I'm not from this. Right. And I've never done an app. I've never done any of this. And I didn't have a network. And so I didn't have people to talk to. And I was never in software. And then Baby Bathwater has some people in software, but it's not software heavy. I could have found it. They have some resources. The Baby Bathwater had the resource. I just never asked for advice. Like right there in front of me. Didn't bother to ask. Because it was kind of just happened. Right?
You're in the messy part right now, it sounds like. You're just kind of got a cool product. You got the testimony. I mean, you have testimonials.
No, it works. And then the affiliates are doing really good. Finally figured out, they're making really good revenue. And then I am too. So I had to figure out just the messaging even because I'm not of it. I mean, I'm the outlier customer.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't use their words. And so I believe in that shit now and I'm proud of it. But I'm not like I'm not going to Burning Man. I'm not that guy. I'm not going to put a scarf on. I'm still going to I'm still a regular Joe goes to a dive bar. That hasn't changed me that way because I don't think you need to be that to be that. I think if I ever got like, I like Rumi, I'd be a barroom mystic. So it's not, my scene is not the scene, right? Nothing wrong with the scene. It's just, and I'm not going to go be a phony and act like I'm part of it. Right. So I get invited to these things and like where they all are. And I, but I'm not like comfortable there. And it's just not my scene. And they're really cool and kind. I'm meeting all the kindest people. Like I love the crowd because they're so kind and open, but then I'm not going to fake it and act the same way. So I refuse to do that because I'm selling authenticity. I mean, Zodiac brings you to yourself and I'm not designed to be that way. I'm not designed to be that person. I'm kind of designed to be grandpa. I'm boring grandpa, man.
With a beer and a hamburger and
and that's what I'm supposed to be. I don't really enjoy traveling that much. I'm a dog about town. I'm a community guy. I like to hang out in my community and barbecue, and it's just what I'm here for. I'm home. I'm kind of, my design is to be home base for people, and I'm a kind of a boring guy that way. And I like to drink my beer, and and that's how I'm going to be. So I'm not going to fake it and act like I'm part of some crowd. I'm not. And then I'm kind of jealous of these people who could be free like that because they're really cool. I mean, so much cool shit going on in that world. But yeah, so not being out of it's hard, where I was at the other thing.
And so now you're in a world that's not where you came from.
Yeah, now I'm in it, but now I am now. Like Jennifer Hill, thank you, because she, first person I called, like, what do I do? And then she liked it, and she brought me into her world, just saved my ass. And then I'm meeting people, and I'm persistent. I do the same thing, hours a day. I read people's thing. Hey, do you want a free link to this? And now I'm endorsed by like Deborah Silverman. I mean, she's Sting's astrology. I mean, she's the most famous, and she loves it. And I can use her name, and hopefully she'll do something. And Barbara Ditlow is like probably the most well-known person in human design. Just gave us her blessing. So I've just been out there putting it in front of people, and now that's why we have the testimonials, because I didn't know any of these people, and they're all this is annoying them till they'll try it, and when they try it, I'll know they'll get it, and then they give me the thing, and then they can become affiliates, and then they introduce me around. So I'm just in the beginning of that part, and then trying to make sure the software keeps working. And now I'm like, oh, the website, and now I'm in AI doing cloud code all day because I also hired a bad marketing firm that maybe didn't work out. So now I'm like, well, I guess I'll do it myself because they're really expensive. And then I was like, spend all this money on nothing. So now I'm
Okay,
like, I guess I'll do that.
this is so
I made a
interesting.
lot of rookie mistakes. That makes
And
sense.
you have so many things. And what I love about this interview, Michael, is it's so raw and real. And that's what we're all
Yeah,
about, right? We're on this
has to be.
journey. And you go to events like Baby Bathwater or some of these other places, or you see these people that you think are crazy successful, but the reality is they're people, right? And
Yeah,
I don't
we're all nuts.
we're total. If you're going to start a company,
Yeah,
what the hell are we thinking? We all have to be nuts, right? And then we do it over
yeah.
and over. God.
Hey,
But yeah, and so what I love is that you go after it and
mhm.
you don't have it all figured out, but you seem to figure it out somehow. And then you just go to your next thing and it's just kind of a journey. But I think for a lot of us entrepreneurs, that's the way it is, right? We hit these highs. You hit the $50 million a year and like, holy shit, we made it. And then all of a sudden you come crashing down and all of a sudden you're not,
Always. I don't
yeah,
know anybody who hasn't crashed down my whole life, at least once.
I think it's the entrepreneur journey, right? We're used to getting
Yeah.
punched in the gut, knocked out at the knees and punched in the throat too. And then we get up and we do it again. But oh my gosh. So I have to ask you, where can we find out more about you, Zodiac, and what you have going on? I think we're following you.
It's just zodiac.fm is the site, and I'm building it. So right now it's just a page. I'm actually that's what I was doing this morning is trying to design a real website, like the corporate site. And then we're an
Yeah.
offer, right? So now we're like, mostly it's through partners and affiliates, and then we make them their own landing pages. And so they're all like those out there. And then our regular site just has a couple things on it because we haven't had time for that. This has all been affiliates. And then we're about to do media buying. And yeah, anybody wants to help, I'm looking for a good media buyer. I'm looking for, help in this whole thing. Cause yeah, but at least we're making money now, but I'm throwing it all back in because you have
Yeah.
to. That's kind of the stage I'm in. And I'm sure in just learning, it's fun, and then we were talking before, like, that's why I say what's different is nowadays when my first two companies, I wasn't even on the website. I had the best product, but it wasn't about Michael. Like nobody cared who I was and it didn't matter to the company. We just had the best stuff. When I was publishing the best people, it wasn't me. So nowadays you can't get away without, if you're a founder and you have a real brand, you have to kind of get out there. I'm learning because nobody will trust your brand unless they know who you are. People didn't care before, but now it's expected that they can hear you on a podcast or know your story, which I don't like because I don't want to be a personal brand, but I kind of have to get out there. And that's what I was talking about is with you earlier is like, I might have to do this thing, like, get out there and tell the story, which is not bad when you tell it, but I never wanted to be a guy, if that makes sense. But I think you have to be now, which is, I think the truth. I've been telling people you kind of have to build your personal brand right now, no matter what you're doing. Not just for coaches. Used to be only coaches needed to, or speakers. But nowadays, even if you were the silent person behind the brand, you can't be silent anymore.
I
Which,
agree. Yeah.
oh,
People
I
want
wish
to
it
know,
wasn't. I
but
know,
it
and I wish
is.
it wasn't too.
But if anyone can do it, it's you, Michael. I feel
I
the
know.
term I think of with you is the captain of reinvention. That's what I feel like with you.
All right.
Like you've had so many different chapters of your life, your career. You have some things that work consistently. Your sales skills, your
Right.
ability to meet people. Sounds like affiliates, doing the joint venture type of thing. You got
Yeah.
that down, and now you just got to do this brand thing, which you're doing right now, and you
Mm,
have so much to share, and you're so
yeah.
incredibly interesting.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So
That's nice
I
to
encourage
say.
everyone to follow him, Lovitch,
Uh,
Zodiac.fm. But I'm going to
What
just
would,
keep.
what would you do? Like, I'm thinking about building some reason I have like 12,000 followers on LinkedIn and I've never posted. And everybody's telling me, well, you should start posting in LinkedIn, or or do a Substack or do a podcast. I'm right now trying to decide like what would I do and what would I say. That's just kind of because nobody follows brand podcasts. By that, so I've done my research, and so brand people want podcasts from people, not brands, and they want.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, because you're around this whole world. Like, what do you tell people to
Oh
do?
my gosh. I don't know that I've cracked it,
You
but
coach me now. You should coach me now. This is
okay.
good.
All right. Yeah. Let me throw this at you. So
Yeah,
I hate social media. I hate doing social
me.
media.
I don't get
Don't
on
I'm
it.
very good. Yeah, I'm not very good, but I love this. I love learning about people's stories. It's a way for me to connect because when I go to events, I feel awkward and weird. Even though I was a communications major, I still
Me too.
do. I felt I leave those events just feeling like, it's just so weird. So this I love because
Me
it's
too.
authentic. I really want to know. I could talk to you for 25 hours because there's so
Yep.
much I really want to know. We haven't even talked about your acid trips or your hallucinogens because I want to know more about them. There's so much I want to know,
Yeah.
but that's the shit that I love. And so I think you have to do what's authentic for you, getting back to your what's in alignment, what's authentic
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
you, and then putting it out there. I just kept, we started this company. Like I said, it's called firecoach.ai. It's to help people with sales, um, using like if you're going to sell to somebody and you know that they schedule on your CRM, you can go hit a button and it creates their bot. Like if I'm selling to you, Michael, I can create the Michael Lovitch bot. And
No
then I
way.
can practice the sale before we're even on the call. And
Oh
it sounds like
wow.
you. And you're giving me your pushback. You're asking me questions that scare the crap out of me. And I can practice it 100 times before I'm actually on the real sales call with you.
That's
So
amazing.
it's really cool. It's so
Yeah,
cool
I didn't
because
know that.
what I needed, it's what I needed, right? So, so what I was told, the advice I was given was go out and be the sales expert, do videos where you're teaching people about sales. I'm like, I'm not the sales expert.
Right.
I know what they need, but I'm not the, so when I would go and do it, I trip over my tongue. It just didn't
Yeah.
flow.
Yeah.
It's awkward and weird. So I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore because I just suck at it.
Yeah.
I know that about myself. So, but then I'm like, I love interviews. So that's what I'm saying is if I just wrap this all up, it's what are you good at? If you like to
Yeah.
write, go freaking write. If you like to talk and teach, do that. You're a teacher. So I think that's kind of what it is. But if you want it to be consistent and you're going to keep on doing it, it has to be something that you love.
Yeah. I like the weird. I mean, yeah, because I'm not the guru. I mean, I don't ask me any astrology questions. I'm just a fan, and I didn't make this fix these up, so I'm on the ride, so I can't give expert advice on any of this stuff. And I'm not through that. I haven't figured out some miracle on woo. Um, I thought it'd be interesting. Like we were talking about this earlier, so I'll tell you. Like I hated woo so much that if all my entrepreneur friends, like they would never tell me they believe in weird shit because I'd probably like just like the guy, I'd make fun of him. Well, now that I'm batshit, I'm crazy. All my friends and all everybody I meet, they're telling me all these crazy stories, and they're into human design, they're into crazy energy this or crazy that or reincarnation, just all the stuff I would have laughed at. That I'm like, maybe but to a T, almost every entrepreneur I know is into something weird. And then in the regular world, when I tell people I'm doing zodiac, about half the people are like, oh, that's astrology stuff. In this entrepreneur world, like nobody. I mean, everybody is into something weird. And I think that's interesting because, and maybe like, I think one of the things I think we just have weird faith. I mean, maybe we're into weird stuff because we're delusional or we feel like, we just feel it and we know it's going to work. But I think we do. I think entrepreneurs are ultimately irrational. Like, I don't know any of my, like, it's a crazy crowd. And I think we're all really irrational and we're faith based in this weird way. And we do tune into something. Like I was always tuning into something. I just didn't know it or believe it. Like now I'm listening to that, but I was never listening. And now I wish I would have listened more. But it's always kind of driving me. I just didn't know it. I thought about doing a podcast or talking about people who are business owners and entrepreneurs. Like, what weird shit do you believe? And then maybe is that a good thing? Like maybe it's the power of being irrational. And maybe all of us do need that, whether it be through religion or whatever. Because think about that. That's astrology is not any more silly than religion. They all seem silly if you're logical. But
Yeah.
then maybe it's all true, or does it matter if it's true? And then maybe we need weird beliefs to move on. And maybe people who start these companies and do this, maybe we all need something weird to hold on to or something that's not rational because usually the evidence is not, most of us do businesses that we shouldn't, but they work anyway. So I was just going to explore that. I'm wondering, like, if I did that, do you think people would tune in? And like,
Oh,
and
right? Because you're right. I think as entrepreneurs, we need something that because it's so hard It's so scary, but we move to a different beat. It's just how we're wired. If I didn't have my own company, I'd feel like I was missing something, right?
Yeah.
And so I need these things that are bigger than me, or science. Like I keep on seeing these numbers, 88 or 888. And it probably means nothing, but to me, I'm like, I think I'm on the right path, right? Because I'm doing this freaking crazy ass thing and I'm putting a lot of money into it and hoping it's going to work. I don't know if it is, but I hope it is. And I'm scared to death every single day. Right. And so I think we need something. It's just like religion. They say you need people. A lot of people go to religion because it's something bigger than them. Yeah. Right. It gives you something to kind of hold on to, right or wrong. I don't think it's wrong. I think it depends on how you use it. But I think it's the same with what you're talking about with the woo.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun to explore that and also just acknowledge that we're bad instead of going, it's true. So it wouldn't be like prove your thing's true because who cares? But I think it's interesting that if people got to see people they think are super successful and the batshit stuff they believe, and if I could get it out of them, it'd be kind of fun. And then I think that'd be a fun thing to.
Yes, you need to find a way to pull it out. Well, people who apply or who you invite and they're willing to do. I think it'll be such an interesting conversation where you merge the two, right? Because what I love, what was hard for me is my dad was very grounded and he never, ever believed in any of the woo kind of stuff. Yeah. My mom died. I'm like, how do you know if they actually put her ashes where they said they were going to put it? And I remember him saying, who cares? She's dead. But yeah, that was his attitude. Yeah. Yes. And so, but then I worked with too many people where I wasn't working with them on the woo stuff, but I saw it work. And then it started working for me. I'm like, or I started noticing. I think I just kind of opened my eyes to certain things. Right. And it's just so fascinating, but there's a science behind it too. You talked about the energy, and I think that there is a science behind it. So I want you to explore it. I want to listen. I want to be on your show. Yeah. And I'll push it out. I think it's super interesting.
I don't know the science behind it, but it doesn't matter because I think, who knows? But I think there's something there it's all connected, and there are people who have tuned in that are teaching it. But whether the science we know maybe, but there's something going down. I don't know what it is.
To talk about that part of it, right? And I don't know. I just think it's super interesting, and there's so many people who would love to talk. I think you should start with Jennifer Hill. I think she'll be really interesting.
I don't think she had a skeptical period though. I'll talk to those people, but then also I like to hear people's stories about how it's kind of like transition, like you, I didn't believe in this stuff. Now I do. But then, the people have always believed. They're really fascinating. Yeah. They've always lived a life of magic. I mean, magic's kind of fun. I mean, it's like, I didn't until 5 years ago, and even then I'm just opening it up because I still don't get used to it. It is more fun to kind of believe in that there might be something more in the magic and that it could be frequencies and all that. And you're like, it makes your life more rich in this weird kind of fun way.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
100%. Okay, Michael. Yeah. So zodiac.fm. Yep. Michael Lovitch on LinkedIn. I know that you said you don't ever post there, but
I might start posting.
I think you should.
I haven't posted.
Well, I'll tag you in this, and then you can repost. So there's your post right there. We'll make it easy.
Could do that. I guess figure out what to say, but it might just be talking about weird stuff. We'll see.
Do weird.
No idea.
I'm in. This has been such a fun conversation. I think we'll be doing follow-ups, but I'm excited to see what happens. I probably will try out Zodiac because now I'm intrigued. But thank you so much for spending so much time with us and sharing your journey. Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm getting exposure now. This is the things. Thanks for letting me on.
You're a brand now.
I'm going to be a somebody. It'd be great.
Never too late. Yep. I love it. Thank you so much.
You too.
Thanks for joining us on Revenue Rearview. If today's conversation gave you a fresh perspective, subscribe, share it with another leader, and we'll see you next time. Because the best decisions are often clearer in the rear view.